Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I am aware that it has been a long time since I last uploaded, and in that time, well, there have been one major change, which of course has been the change of the channel name. But today I'm going to make another change, which is going to be the type of video that this channel will do. There will still, of course, be parts which will return, like gaming, but today it's going to be a review of a review. Yes, you heard me right. I'm going to review an existing review. And this review is not just any review, it's a review of 2023's best-selling game, Hogwarts Legacy. And it's a review that, to be honest, I'm biased against. But this review, I believe, is biased against Hogwarts Legacy, so I think it cancels out. But anyway, let's get into it. So, start the review with, there is no magic in Hogwarts Legacy. No magic. Okay, that's witty and original. The game is mid at best, and its real-world harms are impossible to ignore. Real-world harms. Well, I'm sure many of you can guess what that could be. Help me say goodbye to the setting for good. Oh. The story is rooted in anti-Semitic tropes. The gameplay feels dated. The graphics feel like they're a couple of generations behind. All the characters are one-dimensional. It doesn't stay true to the established lore. Every character feels like an off-brand version of the characters we know and love. There's no sense of place, no magic, no heart. Jesus Christ, there's a lot of ridiculous accusations there. Anti-Semitic tropes. Where? I mean, I've only just finished the game. Right, I don't remember any goblins with mustaches, with toothbrush mustaches. Where were they? And the graphics? A couple of generations behind. This is a PS5 game and looks as such. I do not understand where that's coming from. The gameplay. It's got one of the best combat systems I've ever seen. I've played Marvel Spider-Man PS4 and Marvel Spider-Man. Great combat. I'd say this beats them both. God of War as well, it beats it. All the characters are one-dimensional. Has a point there. I'll admit that. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to try to avoid lying in this video. The characters are less than, they're not Arthur Morgan level. Let's just leave it at that. It does stay true to the established lore, because there was a goblin rebellion mentioned in... Oh, which book was it? It was probably Prisoner of Azkaban. It was one of the early books. It mentioned the history professor, history of magic, talking about the ancient goblin rebellion. It was referenced again in Goblet of Fire, I now remember. No sense of place, no magic, no heart. It does have a heart. It does have magic. And it is not an off-brand version. But let's get into it. Okay. So, an introduction. That's fair enough. Okay. Okay, so they're talking a little bit about it. And there's a donate to trans lifeline there, which is worrying. Well, not worrying, but it's an indicator of what's to come. Okay, we've been talking about this. Wait a second. She's always been inseparable from her work, and from work she's inspired. Nothing with a Wizarding World stamp on it can be viewed outside of the context of it being a product of Dame J.K. Rowling CHOBE. I don't think that's true. I strongly disagree with that statement. Because she had no direct direction on this game. She did not touch this game at all. It's probably one of the reasons why there's a trans character. So that's a lie. That's one lie. We're going to note that down. Okay, so we're talking about the journalist's history and reason to dislike the Harry Potter series before talking about it. Okay, it's about halfway through. Oh, here we go. Found it. We've found the start of the game review, which is halfway through the page, which is worrying. The lackluster art direction. What? Dated. It does not look or feel dated. I'd understand if you had to do the, the movement with the controller. I'd fully understand. I'd agree with that if that was true, but it's just not. And the lackluster art direction, I still don't understand. Avalanche put loads of effort into this game. Remember, this was a studio that previously did mini games for Disney, and now they've made this. They put loads of work in, and you can see that in the videos they release. Honestly, I guess that's what this review is going to be. But what is this tangible absence? This tangible absence. I never felt this absence during my currently 34 hours of playing the game, which in all honesty is likely more than she spent. I honestly just cannot understand the reasoning for this. I just don't get it. There's no tangible absence, and I'll reiterate that multiple times. I'll explain exactly how that is. I don't understand. I just don't. And you can see the rating they've given it. 1 out of 10. I'll say that again. 1 out of 10. That is not a rating you'd normally give to a game that was sold the most in 2023. That is not a sensible review. Anyone can see that is unusual. That is different. And it's not different in any way other than an obvious bias, which seems to be repeatedly gone over again and again and again and again and again, from the apparent anti-Semitism to the transphobia. Next thing, they'll be saying it's the most bigoted game since who knows when. It's the most bigoted game in history. There's no game that's worse than this. This is a scandal. This is terrible. It's just not true. Okay, here's the headline. A global cabal is trying to end slavery, but that's bad because the slaves like being slaves. That's the story. I thought there was, you controlled a wizard who was proficient in a style of ancient magic that no one had seen in hundreds of years. And you had to stop a goblin who wanted to commit genocide and wipe out wizards. It's kind of ironic, anti-Semitic, but there's a guy who wants to commit genocide and he's the villain. It's so bad, this is the story. Yeah, totally anti-Semitic here. But where does the slaves that like being slaves, that sounds like house elves. Where do house elves come into this game? Yeah, there's Deke, but he's the only house elf with a character. He's the only one who has a character of any sort. He's the only one who has a backstory, anything. He's the only one who has a voice actor who got to do more than, one line. He's the only one. There's no major part of the story that's house elves. None at all. But speaking of which, the characters often flat out state their motivations. Okay, so when did Ranrock say, hey, I'm going to kill you. I am going to turn into a huge dragon now? When did he say that? When did Rookwood say, I am going to curse you like I cursed Anne? Doesn't say that. Wait a second. Despite the controversy about Rowling herself, the game feels like... What? So are you saying that if there was no controversy about Rowling, then it's still... No, people worked hard on this game, and you're just shitting on it because of something the person who originally made this fictional world said. after the fictional world was made, and she had no influence on the making of this game. So what are you trying to say here? Without any attention to making it actually worth playing. It's a 9 square mile map, all of which can be explored. 4 different mounts. You can walk as well. You can fly around in your broom. There are loads of broom mechanics. You can cast Revelio on your broom. You can't cast any other spell. There are the 3 unforgivable curses. There are talents for everything, which must have taken ages to implement. I'm no coder, so I wouldn't stand a chance of implementing any of this into anything. I can't even code a game on Scratch, but it's clear that this would not be an easy thing to do, and they've spent years doing this, and it's got so many mechanics. It's obvious that attention has been paid, and they're making it. And even more than that, it was just today and yesterday, when I made this video, and probably when I publish this video, that a sequel was announced. Okay, if you're not paying attention to making a game, why would you make a sequel? It wouldn't make any sense. So obviously they paid attention to it. That's another lie. Let's add that to the lie counter. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And for that reason alone, I can't in good conscience recommend spending your money on it. What reason? Is it the reason that Rowling is a bigot, which she is, I'm not going to lie about that, or is it the reason that you've lied, saying that they didn't pay any attention to this game? Because they clearly did. They clearly did. Because it's a 9 square mile map. They got all of Hogwarts. You can explore all of it. They've got all of these little mechanics and little things which you might not find for ages. They've got these little things which, in most games, you would never see. The only other game I've seen with Easter eggs and stuff like that is Red Dead Redemption 2. And I've seen the wide review for this. It's very, very complimentary. So what on earth is this talk about? Oh, and now of course she's diverted from the whole, oh, I hate Hogwarts Legacy. She's not even talking about it anymore. Now she's talking about the movies. Okay, so she's now no longer talking about the subject. She's talking about something else which kind of relates, but considering that Hogwarts Legacy is in a time period of its own, doesn't really. They're not fun to watch. What they are, I think they're fun to watch. Some of them aren't as good. I don't think they're as good as the originals, but they're not bad. They're not bad at all. They're all flat and kind of confusing. No, I don't think that. What? Well, mate, was IP owners trying to wring any remaining semblance of life from a franchise all but poisoned by its owner? It's not... Okay, just because of what she said, she did not poison the franchise. There is no bigotry in the story. There is at no point where, I don't know, where Harry says, I hate trans people, they're the worst, they should just die in a hole. He never said that, nobody said that. Nobody said that at all, no one implied it, there was never any implication. And so, what is this all about? How flat and heartless Wizarding World media becomes. I don't think that's true. But LGBTQIA people and genuine allies are some of the best creative minds in the world. Bit of a hot take. And these films and games, this game were made largely without them. Do you know that for sure? The game industry is far good. All the things you know and love about your favourite games are made by queer people. And then what? All of the people. What? The sound designers, the engineers, the technical art, with the hands that make the best games in the world are queer. With the life, the heartbeats, and the magic of great games. And you're saying that since there aren't queer people in this game, making this game. It's a terrible game. It's a bad game. That's one of the. You're saying that's one of the main reasons, because there aren't any queer people making it. There have to be queer people to make a good film. Now, what is that directly implying about non-queer people? Because now this is sounding like he's just shouting, "Oh, queer people are so much better than everyone else," and for everyone who has ever been in any type of education with other people of their own age, making yourself out to seem better than everyone else, when in reality, you're even with everyone else. You're just as good as everyone else, but you're also not there are people who are better than you. You were not objectively certain to be better than other people just because you're queer. I find that stereotypical as well. It's ridiculous, and yeah, anyone who's been in any kind of education knows that making yourself out to be better and not being able to follow up, which is just asking to happen, does not get you liked. It does not get you liked. People start to hate you. People start to bully you. And I don't want trans people to be bullied. I'm just giving you advice to this specific journalist. Don't say stuff like this. Because not only are you generalising about queer people, not all of them are as skilled as you're saying they are, but you're also saying that people who are not queer are bad by default. If everyone who makes good things is queer, and only people who make good things are queer, because you said this, as you said, this movie, this game was not created by any queer people, and it's bad, so it's bad. That's one of the reasons you gave. It's bad because queer people didn't make it. What does that make it about non-queer people? It's mind-blowing to me. The quiet solidarity of queer people and allies in game development. Okay, when was this game, the development of this game, a crusade? When was this a crusade against queer people? I do not see the part of this which is a crusade against queer people. This is not... We're not trying to stamp you out. There was no implication that that straight people are trying to stamp you out, straight, cis. This game was not a crusade against you. This was not an attack to take you out. This was something that was meant to bring you joy. And, okay, so looking at the journalist, Gina Rodriguez-Gray is a product writer and reviewer at Wired, covering coffee, sex tech, and gaming. Now, the fact that gaming is mentioned last kind of makes me think that it's the least important of the three. And if that's true, then you've got a queer journalist, nothing wrong with that, who's more experienced with writing about sex toys and coffee than games. And this is a specific game that she would be biased against. Like, she has reason to dislike J.K. Rowling, but in my opinion, it's not just on her. It's not on her at all, really. I think it's a large part of this is also on Wired itself. Like, it's game journalism. It's journalism, yes. But you should have a neutral party talking about it. We don't get commentators in football, like say Manchester United versus Manchester City, saying, "Manchester United, go, go, go." Overall, I rate this review a 0 out of 10 for its bias, its lies, and its crappy writing.